Hello and welcome to the third of my Spectrum Noir product reviews, this week on Colour with Claire. Today I'm going to be showing you their premium pencil line, the ColourBlend pencils. There are 144 pencils in the complete set, so a really good selection, more than Faber-Castell Polychromos and almost as many as Prismacolor and Holbein. The pencils themselves look and feel really luxurious. For a start, they have this very classy looking deep maroon coloured barrel and gold stamped writing. Similar to Derwent pencils, the ends are glossy dipped in the colour of the lead with a gold band separating it from the matte barrel. The pencil has its brand name, the ColourBlend, and the colour name etched into it, so you can see very clearly which colour you're after. The barrels are made from California cedar wood and encase a thick 4mm core, giving that extra bit of strength. Now I'm not going to lie, I have had a very few breakages when sharpening, but out of the 144 it really was only a small few, and I think you'll find that occurs with most soft pencil sets. So they're wax based and, as I say, very soft. Not as soft as Prismacolor, they're probably comparable to the Derwent Colour Soft in my opinion. The colours are very highly pigmented and they lay down without much pressure at all, and they blend superbly, as you're going to see a bit later. So there's a huge selection of colours, as you can imagine. I'll just try and get them all on camera for you here. Here we go. So there's everything from the lightest yellow to the deepest purple and everything in between. We've got delicate colours like periwinkle and rose peach, as well as really vibrant colours, and a massive selection of browns and greys, ideal for colouring those natural landscapes. So as you can see, the colours really do span the entire spectrum, no pun intended, and I'm hard pressed actually to find any shade that's missing from this lot. So there they all are, hopefully you can see. So what I've done here is I've swatched out some rainbow colours just so you can get a sense of how they look on paper. I didn't use much pressure at all to lay these down, so they really are well pigmented colours. Here I did the same thing with two colours, a light and a dark blue, just to see how they blend together with various types of blending methods. This first one is just the two pencils on their own, nothing added, and it really is a lovely smooth blend. Here I did the same thing with the two colours, and added Spectrum Noir blending solution on top of that with a paper stump, which I'll be showing you later. This one was with a Prismacolor blending pencil, and this one was with the white ColourBlend pencil, just to see how it burnishes with a white pencil. I honestly think that the best blend is the two pencils on their own, with the blending solution in a close second. Underneath this I tested the amount of layers I could put down here, and I was surprised that I could only get 5 out of this pencil before it was fully burnished, but I suppose that's quite a testament to how much pigment each colour lays down in one layer. So we've got a really nice light layer there, and it just gets deeper and deeper until we have the fully burnished layer. So then I tested the erasability here on these two pink swatches. This was with a very light layer and this with a very heavy pressurised layer. So it's pretty good on the erasability front as well. Okay, let's get colouring so that you can see these pencils in action. So here's one I did earlier, first of all. This illustration is from the Zodiac Dreams colouring book by Marlon Tunison, and I coloured it totally with ColourBlend pencils. As you can see, there's absolutely beautiful blends with both softer colours and more vivid tones, and I absolutely love the way this picture turned out. So what I've done here is I've stamped 3 images, and I'm going to be showing you simple 2 colour blends on this one. Then I'm going to be blending with mineral spirits on this one, and then finally on this little cupcake I'm going to be using alcohol markers and showing you how to put pencils on them to create depth and dimension. So let's start off with this flower here. Now what I'm going to be doing with this flower is, as I say, simple 2 pencil blends. I've chosen 2 shades of blue. We've got periwinkle and icicle. Now one of these is more of an aqua blue and the other one is a very light not quite duck egg, just a very, very light deco blue type of colour. So we're going to see how these work together. Let's make sure they're all sharpened up ready. There you go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with the periwinkle first at the very bottom edge of this petal. Fading it up as I go. And then with the icicle colour, starting at the top, doing the same thing. So quite heavy pressure at the top of the petal, fading it down into the periwinkle. Now obviously the key with all coloured pencils is to try and use light layers and build up so that you don't put too much pencil down to start with, because you can always add, but it's really difficult to take away. So I'm just going back in with this periwinkle and again with the icicle until the two colours merge in the middle. So these are obviously two very, very soft colours, and I wanted to show you not only the vivid, bright, bold colours from this set, but also these very muted pastel colours, just so that you could see that you can still get a really lovely, delicate result, even though they're highly pigmented. So I'm doing exactly the same thing all over the flower. Now I'm doing this quite quickly for time purposes, but you can take your time. But it really is effortless colouring with these pencils. So on some of the petals I'm not even bothering to get that blend absolutely perfect, because they're so small that you can just give the impression that they're blended rather than have to spend a lot of time on a very minuscule area, and it still has the overall look that we're going for. So these pencils are very, very soft. Spectrum Noir also do another set of coloured pencils called the ColourBlend, which are their, well, watercolour line basically. They can be activated with water, much like Derwent Inktense or Staedtler Carrot Aquarelle or any other water soluble pencils. And I'll be showing you those in another video this week. They also do the Colorista pencils, which are their budget line for colourists. Whereas these pencils, these ColourBlend pencils, are intended for professional crafters and artists, the Colorista range was designed for people who just do colouring. So you might not want incredibly expensive or artistic products, if that makes sense. So they designed this Colorista range as a budget friendly option that's still really good quality, and I'll be showing you those as well later in the week. So our flower's building up nicely here. As I say, just doing it quite quickly. And I really love these two colours together. It's sort of hydrangea colours, which is one of my favourite flowers. Now I am doing this in real time, just so that you can see how quick and easy it is. I could have speeded it up, but I just wanted you to see it as it's being done. Oftentimes when things sped up, you can't really see how much effort's going into it and how long it's taken, which can be quite, what's the word? Basically, you just don't really know how long it's taken that person. And, you know, it could have been something that was a 3 or 4 hour job and you wouldn't know because it's been speeded up. So that's why I'm doing this in real time. Misleading, that was the word I was looking for. I've got such bad brain fog with words. Yeah, it's quite misleading, these sped up videos sometimes. So we're coming to the end of our petals now. I think you'll agree, with minimal effort and minimal time, we've made a lovely blended flower. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in to do these leaves with 2 more colours. So these colours are Avocado and Shamrock. Shamrock is our darkest colour and it's quite emerald green in shade. So I'm just going to be doing these quite quickly, working from the bottom of the leaf and coming out. So heavier pressure in the centre, coming out to a lighter pressure. That lighter pressure at the end is what is going to help the 2 colours merge together. So the stamping ink that I used with these pencils was the alcohol-based stamping ink. You could use either, but with the alcohol one being permanent, I thought that would be the best bet because you don't want the pencils to move the lines anywhere, because if they're water-based then they're probably not as permanent as an alcohol one would be, if that makes sense. So just quickly do these leaves as well under here. And let's do the bottom of this branch in green as well. So we're coming in with our avocado colour now, and I'm starting with heavy pressure at the tip of the leaf, blending down with lighter pressure into the shamrock colour. So always use the lighter colour as your sort of blending stick. If you're not going to be using any other blender like a blending pencil, always use the lighter colour to buff out the lines between the 2. So really quickly there we've created a lovely little posy with lots of different blends in it, with a bit of depth and a bit of a 3D look to all the different elements of the flower. So next up I'm going to be showing you this rosette with blending solution. Whoops. And the blending solution looks like this. This is a Spectrum Noir pencil blending solution. It's odourless mineral spirit, so it doesn't have any horrible smell or anything like that. And what you will need is one of these tortillons or pencil stumps, paper stumps. This is a Spectrum Noir one, and as you can see I have used my sander just to sand off any colour that was on there before, like this one. Make it back into a point that's very clean. We'll open this carefully, ready for use in a moment. And we're going to take the colours that we're using for the rosette. And I think I'm going to go with pumpkin and ladybug, so a red and an orange. Again, make sure we've got some nice sharp points on there. And much like I did with the colour swatches earlier, I'm going to be doing a sort of spherical blend with these on this rosette here, and then I'm going to be doing a straight up and down blend here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a sort of crescent moon shape with the darkest colour on the left hand side. Now you don't need to put a lot of pressure on this because the blending solution is going to be doing the mixing and blending for you, so you don't have to worry about getting it perfect by yourself. You're going to have a bit of help along the way. Now when I first started using blending solution, I didn't have a clue how to properly use it, and I was there scrubbing it on with this paper stump, and it was just going all horrible and dark, and it was lifting the pigment off the page and saturating it, and it was just awful. And then I found out that you actually have to use it like water on a paintbrush. So instead of scrubbing it into the pigment and trying to force it to blend, you literally just paint it on very, very lightly, because what it does is it breaks down the wax in the pigment and makes it merge together with the other colours. So where you have this white speckled tooth of the paper, once you add the blending solution, it breaks up. So we're going in from the other side now, making sure we're quite dark on this side and bringing it quite lightly into the centre to meet the red. So we've got a good first layer of pencil down, and this is where we come in with our blending solution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip it very, very slightly. This one's quite low down because I spilt it everywhere. Very slightly into the blending solution, so you can see that the tip is just wetted with the solution. We don't want a lot on there at all. And then I'm going to start over on the lightest side because we don't want to really be dragging dark colour around. And literally I'm not using any pressure whatsoever. I'm just using this scumbling motion very lightly over the area. If you think it is a bit too dry, you can just dip it back in again, like I just did. And as you can see, it's starting to fill up the white spaces now, where the wax is breaking down. Now what blending solution can sometimes do is bleach the intensity of the colour a little bit. But the great thing about using blending solution instead of a blender pencil is that once you've gone over your image with a blender pencil, you use quite a lot of pressure, and there's often not a lot of tooth left on the paper to work with. So you can't really go in and add more to it. With blending solution you can, because it's literally a wash over the surface, you're not losing any of that tooth, so there's still room to play with this. If you think that it's gone a bit pale and a bit washed out, you can go straight back in with your pencil and deepen those colours. This is actually a fantastic way to colour gems because you get that sort of natural looking blend rather than something that's done precisely. And so I think that's just about done to my liking. You can just play with it as many times as you want. On the camera it may not look completely blended, but it does look pretty well done to my eyes. So what we're going to do is do these ribbons of the rosette as well. I'm going to go in with the red, and again using these flicking motions with very light pressure to the centre of the ribbon where it's going to meet with the orange. This time I'm going to leave a blank space in the middle and let the blending solution drag the colours together. You don't have to do this flicking motion, you can do small circles, scumbling, it's up to you. Okay, so we've got our paper stump ready to go. We're going to start off with the orange. And as you can see, it's melting and dragging that pigment upwards. And we're going to come down with our red. Just a very light touch. And as you can see, this is now merged in the centre where we left it white. So same again on this side. So it's super easy to blend two colours together if you don't have the knowledge or the prowess or the skills to blend them on their own. This is a super simple beginner's way of doing that. So as I mentioned before, you can add in more colour if you wanted, just to build that vibrancy. And you can go back in as many times as you want with your blending solution. So that is how you use odourless mineral spirits to blend coloured pencil together. Now on the very last illustration we've got here at the bottom, this cupcake, I'm going to be colouring it with alcohol markers, just block colouring it. And this one is ideal for people who would love to have the kind of blends that alcohol markers have, but they're just a bit nervous to try and make those blends with the markers. So we're going to block colour it, nothing fancy at all, no techniques, just block colouring. And then I'm going to show you how pencils can really build dimension. So I'm not adding any shading in whatsoever. I'm going to do that with the coloured pencils. We've got our red cherry on top. So absolutely nothing wrong with that. Lovely little illustration, really cute. But I really want to try and make it look a bit more 3D and a bit more realistic. So first of all, I'm going to grab my cranberry and my ladybug pencil again. And we're going to just do this cherry. So the cranberry is the darkest of the colours, and with the light source, I'm just going to go and say that there's light coming from all over. I don't want to complicate things, so we're just going to make this side the darkest on the cherry. Pencil lays down really, really smoothly over alcohol markers because obviously you've not taken any of that tooth out of the paper at all. And you can really take your time with pencils, which is not the case for alcohol markers when you're blending, because you have to be quite quick to do it before it dries. So I've darkened the cherry up down on this lower left hand side. And I'm blending that out a little bit with the ladybug, but we don't really need too much of that colour. But you should be starting to see now that this top end of the cherry is looking lighter than this end. So it's already given it a bit of depth. Now if you wanted to, you could go in with the white pencil, which is here. It's got a bit of blue on it, so I'll just scrub that off. You could go in with the white pencil and create a little bit of a highlight. You could do this with white gel pen even, just to intensify the contrast a little bit more between the dark here and the light here. But that's totally up to you. So I'm just going to do a little bit. And hopefully you can see it looks like quite shiny now. So for the frosting, I've just got this one pencil, Cupid, and it's quite a deep pink. It's a bit sort of magenta, but it's along the same tonal value as the original colour that we put down, which was, by the way, PL1. The cherry was DR2 and the case was RB1. So what I'm doing is I'm going to say that the light source is coming in from the centre this time. It's hitting the cupcake right in the centre. So I'm starting dark and heavy on one side, blending to lighter in the middle. And I'm going to do exactly the same on the reverse side. So we've got a nice shiny bit in the centre of the frosting. Obviously, if you wanted, you could do it dark up to here and then light so that it's following the exact same light source as the cherry. But I'm mixing it up a little bit, because why not? So now you can really start to see the difference that adding this coloured pencil on top is making. We had something that was very flat, very block coloured, and now we've got something that's got a bit of roundedness and it's more interesting to the eye. So I'm going to stop that there and we move on to the cake case, and I'm going to be using the colour Cinnamon, and I'm just going to be following the lines of this cupcake case, deepening the colour right against the line and then just very softly feathering it outwards. So I'm going to do this on all of the left hand sides of each crease. So really not difficult at all, very, very simple, but really effective. And we've now got a very 3D looking cupcake, which I think you'll agree is a lot nicer than the flat colour. So that's all the colouring demos done. Finally, I'm going to talk about availability and price. So the pencils come in sets of either 12 or 24. There are 5 24 sets to collect, named Essentials, Florals, Naturals, Primaries, Shade and Tone. The 2 12 sets are named Bold Brights and Soft Tints. The whole 144 pencil set can be bought on Amazon UK for the bargain price of £61, which is absolutely incredible considering that the 24 packs usually sell for £25 each. I'll be leaving links in the description for you to buy in the UK and elsewhere. And I really hope you've enjoyed this review and demo. Please do let me know in the comments if you did, and I'll see you for the next Spectrum Noir video very shortly.